Yeah.
Hello, people. It's your boy Usmaan back again with another podcast. A lot to talk about. Sadly, not transfer related, but a lot to talk about surrounding the club. Obviously, you guys probably know it. If you don't already, there's a situation with a guy that we will be discussing in a few minutes. But first and foremost, I'm joined here by Joe and Waz. How we doing, boys?
Absolutely phenomenal. You.
Good to have you both on as always. So the topic in particular is about the Glazers. The title of the video is Glazers' lack of ambition killing the club. Drop a like right now if you hate them. No, sure. I'll just get like a million likes.
I like the way that was going, by the way.
Now, but on a level, drop a flipping like if you want the Glazers to piss off out the club. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We have got an unbelievable exclusive on Thursday with a very prestigious journalist. You're not going to want to miss that, obviously. Those details will be revealed tomorrow. But nevertheless, stay tuned for this show, which we will be discussing a variety of topics. As always, get your comments in. The boys' links will be in the description, in particular Joe's. Joe, just give a quick roundup of what you do, Mike.
I'm a writer. I'm an actor and stuff like that. I do a lot of stuff on Man United, a lot of comedy films, but I also do it on several topics. So please check out my YouTube channel by searching Joe O'Neill and find me on Instagram at Joe Your Own Way and Twitter at Acting Joe, which is written there. Right
there, you go.
There,
well,
check it out.
Well, that's in the description as well. For whatever reason, if you can't read it for whatever reason, it's in the description. Anyways, let's get on to the show. There's only one place to start. Harry Maguire found guilty. Mate, let me just read out the actual what he's found guilty of. So Maguire found guilty of bodily harm, attempted bribery. We saw the quotes, early in the week. A lot of which, I'm going to be honest, I thought it was utter bullshit. Again, it might still be utter BS because he is actually going to appeal the suspension, so not suspension, so the case hearing, so to speak, and also violence against public enemies. So a lot of counts there. That's 3 separate accounts, not 1, 2, but 3, which is absolutely ridiculous. But Joe, we'll come to you first and foremost. He's found guilty, our captain.
I suppose, technically, he is guilty, but it's I don't know anyone in any situation who wouldn't have done exactly what he did. And this isn't even talking from a Man United, a pro Man United stance. This is just a life stance. If someone attacks my sister and as well as that is abusing me and my company I'm in, personally, I will do everything I can to knock the shit out of them, even if it involves in me getting my head knocked in. There is no excuse for what was said or happened to him and the people around him. So I absolutely stand by everything he did. And even when it comes to when he was, the only thing that is kind of a bit iffy, maybe the bribery one. But I think that, when he's brought in, on print he says, do you know who I am? I've got money, I can pay this. In my head, he's not saying that in a pompous way, in a way of well, do you know who I am sort of thing. It's look, just stop doing this. Look, I'm Man United captain, I can pay. I understand it's still bribery, but I think it was just him being very drastic, and probably it just all hit home that he's being arrested and he was just trying to say and I'd say just saying anything to get out of it. I know it's the sort of thing I've saw a lot of people on a lot of his his peers, a lot of footballers tweeting support from all different backgrounds, saying, look, we know him, he's a nice guy. Usually I'd be I don't really get that. It's hard to judge it by that sort of thing, but by judging by the actual situation and the things surrounding it, I completely stand by everything Harry Maguire did, and I would do exactly the same thing in that order. I would do it.
But I'm sure you do a lot worse. First and foremost, regarding what Harry Maguire has done, we spoke about this briefly on one of those shows. First and foremost, we don't know the full extent of the story. I think there's a lot of different things that are being reported. So for me personally, before I make a judgment, I just want to be very clear that I'm only making this judgment of what I've heard, okay? So a lot of the stuff that we've read and heard may be complete and utter false. So then again, our opinions may change on the situation. So we're just basing on what we've heard. And what we've heard, a lot of stories are suggesting that his sister was attacked. I'm not going to say how attacked, because again, the stories vary. It seems a lot of it does seem like it might be made up, to be honest, because some of it is probably someone injected her. That sounds ridiculous. Obviously, I don't... Again, it might be true, but it just seems far-fetched.
I think it is the thing though that she was injected with something and she fainted, which is, so it's like, I know it's all kind of conspiracy, but that seemed to be accepted on both sides. That did happen because the people that did it aren't the people on trial, but it seemed to be that is what happened. But again, until everything confirmed,
I was about to say, that's just speculating again. That's just one story.
It is.
Another person saying that his sister got attacked with a sharp object. I suppose a needle is a sharp object. But at the moment, it's difficult to say. But we do know one factual thing, that he's actually guilty of 3 accounts. Which is the most important factor in this case. What are your thoughts? We spoke briefly off air, but I know you've just found out, you've just come back from work. But what are your initial thoughts regarding this whole situation?
The problem is we can jump to conclusions, say, he should be doing this. I mean, also there's too much rumors, and that's the problem, and nothing's concrete. Yeah, they said guilty, but at the moment, I don't know, it's too much up in the air. And obviously we're associated with someone like Neil Ashton as well, who's very good at spinning stories as well. There's too much spin up on it.
Yeah.
It's difficult. It's abroad as well. You don't know what's going on there. It's not in this country. The rules are different. But if, hypothetically speaking, if all that is correct, if he's defended his sister, I would do the same thing, or any family member, or even the member of public. If someone's going on, I would defend. Full stop. But the bribery thing, I think that's pushed it. I know Joe said, it could have been this way, but we don't know if he was drunk. It could have been drunk and said, "Oh, do you know who I am?" It could have been in any context. We actually don't know, innit? We weren't there, so we can't judge it. I don't want to put some false kind of thing out there saying, "Oh, he's like this, he's like that," because I actually don't know. I'm clueless on this until it gets proven and there's a case of some sort, or he pleads not guilty or whatever. So
as it stands, he's guilty. Like I said, he's gonna, he's gonna.
I don't believe the media. Full stop. I mean, with the media, I don't normally, there's too much hype. With Man United, there's hype in general. He's our captain. He's England player.
Well,
it's too much.
The media have been covering him. Like I was gonna, as I said on my.
Because it's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment on many fronts.
Yeah, but no, as I was gonna say, on the other show, like I was talking about media bias, so we're not gonna go into that here. But the media have protected him. As Joe already alluded to, a lot of other players. I think it was Steve Bruce's son. I can't remember his name.
Alex Bruce.
Alex Bruce. Yeah, that's the one I saw personally. He basically is saying that he's not that kind of player, etc., etc. But that's what you'd expect from Alex Bruce to say. He's not going to come out and say this sounds like something Maguire did.
That's something you won't do.
If somebody is thinking, obviously, again, I don't know Maguire players. I'm just suggesting. If somebody is there, another player that's met Maguire and have worked with him, if they are thinking, "No, this probably does sound like something he do," they're not going to tweet it, are they? Because then they'll be in a gate course, a court case, so to speak. They're going to be like protect. It's just gonna be headache for them. So they're not gonna say that. Obviously, the only things that are gonna come out are positive from his peers. Nothing negative is gonna come out because it'll be a detriment to them personally, and they'll be dragged in. So in that sense, I think you can only look at that.
Another thing I would add is
so much value in that.
What I heard, I don't know if it's true because I've just heard it. Gareth Southgate has picked him for the England team.
Yeah,
that is true. So I was. Obviously, we don't go into too much detail here, but Gareth Southgate did actually come out and back him prior to this basically being revealed as guilty. And does he backtrack? Or I don't know.
You can't backtrack, innit? Once you've said it, innit? That's it.
And that's and the fact is, he picked the squad after everything had happened. So I'm guessing that himself and Solskjaer and the higher ups at the FA and United know everything, and we're being drip fed information, whatever comes out, but I'm sure they know enough, know everything, and the fact that it's been changed from a criminal case, whatever, to a misdemeanor, which means no matter what, he can't see prison time, so I think it's a case of they know it was just a thing that happened, that people in the public, like the media people, are no matter what, that can spin it, that it'll empathize to people, and he's not going to get in too much trouble for it. So I think it's just a thing of in a week or two it'll be swept under the rug.
Yeah, so no, obviously Ali's just joined us here.
How you guys doing, boys?
Nice late substitution and all that good stuff. Ali, we're just talking about Maguire's situation regarding what's just happened. Okay, for those of you that are just joining us and you're not aware, Maguire's been found guilty on 3 accounts one of which is bribery, bodily harm. So the second one is bodily harm, and the third one will be violence against public employees. So for me personally, just my thought, I'm not really said what the one that annoys me the most is the bribery one. Now the other two, if you can go back to Joe's initial point, which is if it is defending his sister, I would agree with the other two like wholeheartedly, and I will stand by him. But the bribery one is the one that is bad taste for me because it's embarrassing, isn't it? I think the other two you can't class them as embarrassing because if he's defending his sister, he's well within his right to do that. But the bribery one is definitely embarrassing. Like if you personally, if I'm defending my sister, right, and I personally think I've done the right thing in defending my sister, obviously, which it is, you know, I'm not going to bribe someone. Like, end of the day, you should know, like, obviously he's panicked in it if that's the case, when he has bribed someone. So it's one of the cats. He's obviously panicked. Ali, what are your thoughts on the Maguire situation?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely unfortunate the fact that the season's just finished and obviously he's gone around. But the fact that I think you're right, Usmaan. He's defended his sister, but just that phrase of bribing someone, bribing any sort of authority. He might say he was drunk. He didn't know what he was actually saying.
Yeah,
I think that one looks worse is the fact that he's probably tried to throw his money around, thinking, okay, maybe overseas it works, where you can throw your money around and bribe someone off, etc. But
basically, money gets you off,
Exactly.
scot-free kind of thing.
Yeah,
It's
so
not right.
I think that's a scary thing. And obviously, the repercussions are going to be massive back home as well for him. Obviously, England have obviously announced him as part of the squad. They've now got to pull back on that because he can't actually be in the squad now based on this. And then what happens to his captaincy back home with us? Really, does he still keep the captaincy armband? It'll be interesting to see. I think next couple of days, especially in the media. I mean, like I said, I've seen a lot of things flying around where if it was another player, if it was Pogba that got into this situation, how would they treat him there? Well, I think it'll be interesting to see how the media sort of flip it on this one. And let's see what happens in the next sort of coming days, really.
Remember Steven Gerrard punched someone in a nightclub? Yeah, that kind of got swept under the rug as well. I know this is a bit different, it's a bit more serious, but like I genuinely think this will be forgotten before anything else happens. Like if you even go to Spain when Messi and Ronaldo and the likes were charged with money not money laundering, but like not paying their taxes. Like and they were found guilty. Again, it was all gone away. I think genuinely with the situation that's around it, it's very easy to sell this to the public of someone defending his sister.
Yeah, okay, that's what's going to happen in it.
Yeah. The bribery thing, I completely get where you're coming from. In my head, I'm just imagining if I had all the money in the world and I was Man United captain, I was starting centre back for my country, I would say anything to try get out of the situation. Because if you're drunk and you're kind of being brought in, I can imagine I would just go, look,
basically don't report it. I'll give you 50k or whatever it is, which is a lot of money.
Yeah.
If he said that, if he said that to me, I'd be like, go on, then, Maguire.
Absolutely. And I guarantee it, it's because it was only in the police station. That's why your man probably said no. You know what I mean? Like he couldn't do it. But and like anywhere else. But like that's what I mean. But again, that's like the one grey area in my head, or maybe in my heart. It's all like best intentions, but who knows really what he was saying to him.
Yeah, no, that I think, like, obviously, I think we all agree on the bribery is the one that is. Yeah, it's embarrassing for the club, man. Come on, we're Manchester United. This is our captain. You know, I've been teaching kids all day. I've been talking to them about role models in sport and inspiring and making sure you set a good example. And this is the captain of United. This is the example he set. Granted, you can twist it however you want. He's defending his sister X, Y, and Z, and I agree with him defending his sister, but.
I don't think we have all the facts, though.
Yeah, exactly. We don't have all the facts of the moment, so it's difficult to say.
I never considered that. Yeah.
But obviously on the youngsters, coming through the academy, that's the captain, and they're looking up to the captain at the end of the day in the first team. But anyways, let's talk about the captaincy, and then we'll move on to the Glazers because it's everyone's favourite topic at the moment. Ali, as you just come, we'll ask you first. A lot of people, I think this is going to be one of those 50-50. Until some fans are going to be for him to get stripped, some fans will be like, "That's absolutely ridiculous. Why are you over exaggerating?" So, Ali, what are your thoughts? Where do you sit on the two spectrums, so to speak?
I reckon the club will show faith and sort of honour his captaincy. I think they'll stand by him and say, "Look, we know what you did. As in, you had reasons for it. Whether they were right or wrong, we don't know the actual fact. But I don't think they'll hand the captaincy over to Gale or to Paul Pogba. I reckon they'll stand by the captain and say, "We stand by you, and you're our captain going forward." I don't think Ollie's that ruthless to actually say, "You know what? I'm stripping you the captaincy." Alex Ferguson would have ripped it off him straight away. I think Ollie would be like, nah, you know what? I'm gonna stand by my man.
Baby-faced assassin. You forgot that bit.
Well, if he does take the captaincy off him, I'm going back to Ali, mate. Ruthless, yeah.
Brutal, mate.
Oh, for sure.
Well, we'll discuss obviously if you want to give it to in another time. But Joe, what are your thoughts? So he thinks that the club will stand by him as will Ali because he's not ruthless enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they'd be stupid taking him off him as well. Like in this situation, it's all public and all like that. But our captain, our greatest captain, one would say, Roy Keane, punched Peter Schmeichel in the hallway of a hotel in Hong Kong in 1999. Like our most important player, like punching our second most important player. And I remember the only thing he said was, because Bobby Charlton came out of the room, like they were on the same, and he just said, he came out because like he could have broken it up. Why didn't he break it up? It's like a man in his late 60s is supposed to break up two professional footballers. But like,
yeah, but Joe, but how? Fair enough, he probably did get rid of his captaincy, Roy Keane's. But who's gonna have the balls to go and say to Roy Keane, "You give us the captaincy back"? No. Not if Vieira could do that, mate.
I think if anyone could, it would be Fergie. But like, if you're not going to take it off for someone for infighting, for literally punching a teammate, I think just because this one's out in the public, I don't think. I think it's fine. I think again, it'll be pushed, it'll be spun in a way, and to be honest, I think he'll get more respect off the fans just for mainly the sister, protecting his sister aspect. If that's what it's.
Well, if that is true, then personally, then I've got to back it as well. We have got a few comments here before I come to you, Ross. One is absolutely hilarious from Benji. I don't know if you guys have seen this. But Messi is available, lads.
Oh yeah.
Messi's handed in a transfer request. Come on, Ali, bring it to Old Trafford. Oh my God! Listen, just get rid of like half the squad, right, and just give just give their wage to Messi, man. I don't give a shit about the rest of the players. Just give it to Messi, man. Just make it happen.
Oh, that's a statement.
On a more serious note, we'll leave that to Benji and his transfer shows. So we've got a question here from Akil. Why not give Pogba the captaincy if he extends his contract, obviously on the back of him signing the contract, that is, which leads us on very nicely. Firstly, regarding the Maguire, should he strip it off him? And secondly, thoughts on Pogba getting it?
Personally, yeah, I think they should take it off him, but they won't, like these guys were saying, Ali and Joe.
Why do you think he should get taken off him?
Not because of what's just happened. I don't think he's a leader like I thought he would be. I think Bruno's more of a leader, but then again, Bruno's just coming to the team. You can't just give it to him as well because you're almost repeating the same mistake, adding the pressure on as well. Pogba for me is not a captain. I don't know. I don't think so personally. So yeah, you'd have to leave it with Maguire. I don't think it'll happen anyway. I think they'll brush it under the carpet. But personally, if at any time, this is probably the best time to do that if you're going to do it, which they won't. But I was just thinking, actually, if a bit of a joke side of it, if Maguire goes to prison, they might toughen him up a bit. He comes out with tattoos and that.
well,
you might be a bit more vocal. You don't know.
Yeah, I love that. I love your positive outlook on life. Was like,
I don't want to go to prison.
Did you hear about the Lindelof story? Apparently,
yes.
What? And I saw rival fans tweeting this, and it actually made me laugh. You know, why can Maguire and Lindelof defend so well off the pitch?
That's decent. I like that.
To be fair, I don't normally join in with the banter from us, but fair play to whoever tweeted that. It's decent. To be fair. But it's so true. I read the Lindelof story, right? In case you don't know, apparently he was literally just strolling in Sweden. Some 90-year-old lady got basically robbed, and he ran after the person that robbed it and then reprimanded the guy and waited for the police to come. So what is going on?
So he has got pace. He has got pace then.
I know he's not used on pitch either.
I think that is set up because I was in Sweden in January. I was in Sweden in January and there was no crime there. It's just beautiful people that are so dull. Like they're definitely no crime whatsoever. Like
they're probably blaming on Martial anyway. They're probably blaming on Martial.
Yeah. Well, if it was Martial, Lindelof ain't catching him. He's slipping slow. Right. Listen. First and foremost, just obviously to summarize. Two of the lads don't think Maguire should get stripped of his captaincy. Was thinks he should be straight, but he doesn't know who to give it to, which. Fantastic. Right, okay.
I don't think it'll happen. No,
basically. But it isn't about what you think will happen. is what you think should happen? That was the question.
Yeah, give it to Bruno. Yeah, give it to Bruno.
Okay, right. For me personally, we have to wait for the facts. As it stands, if he's defending his sister, right, I'm gonna have to back him because I'm gonna sound like I'm being like I'm contradicting myself here. Because at the end of the day, if that was my sister, I would have kicked fuck out of the person as well, straight up. So you know, if that is the truth, then I am sticking by Maguire. That's my opinion. Obviously, we'll find out in the coming days. Anyways, let's move on to Pogba. Obviously, we mentioned him briefly. Paul Pogba looks like he's staying at Manchester United. Ali, you know, I spoke very vocally on this, so I'm not going to say too much on this on Benji's show. So I'll pass it to you, Ali. What are your initial thoughts hearing about the Pogba situation?
It's definitely exciting, the fact that we can still keep a player of this sort of caliber, but it's the reasons behind it. He's just staying it for a fat bumper contract, knowing that no one can afford him this season. Has he been given reassurances that the club will spend money and we will have major players sort of come in? I don't think so. I'm sort of flash forwarding it sort of 12 months time where he decides to leave on the basis that the club have sort of broken promises towards him. We'll get a fee out of it, knowing that we've still got 2 years plus on his contract, maybe even 3 years on his contract. And I can just see it all blowing up in everyone's faces where he comes out and says, I signed on the agreement that we would move forward as a club. They were matching my ambitions. I was told we were going to get some good players in, and I just can't see it happening. So it's good news the fact he's staying right now, but I think it's the fact that no one can afford him. No one's going to fork out 100+ million on him, and we're just buying ourselves time. Same with the Phil Jones scenario, Rojo. They were all given contracts just for a sell-on clause.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with a lot of what you said there. Joe, what are your thoughts? Do you think it's just a case of, no one can afford him? And on the back of that, do you think we potentially should have cashed? I know somebody asked me, I think it was Madassa who asked me yesterday's show. He was adamant we should have cashed in on Pogba, basically, and reinvested the money, so to speak.
Yeah, I'm for a rarity. I'm going to 100% agree with what Ali just said. It's just a case of fundamentally it comes down to he's going to impress for the next season because no matter what happens, we're not going to get anywhere near anyone, and we can get 150 million out of him, and that's it. And he knows that. I'm sure he's saying, look, I don't know if he expects us to win the Champions League, but I'm sure he's saying if we don't get to a semi-final and compete, then I'm going to go, and that's it. That might be it because I can't. Yeah. Oh, well, it's the only one we're missing is the semi-final. Yeah.
Yes.
But he's it's depressing. But that's just it. It's no one can afford him this year. It kind of feels like why Di Maria came to us was because no one could get him at that time, and he wanted to go to PSG. This is what it feels like with Pogba. He'll sign a contract, get a lot of money. Hopefully, he'll play every game and actually be the player that we all want him to be for what will probably end up being his final season.
Yeah.
But it's a likelihood he'll sign a contract, he'll be gone next summer, 150 to 180 million, hopefully around that, and then maybe get 3 or 4 players if we're lucky.
Wow. Right. But to be fair, if we did sell him for that much, I think, well, then again, do I trust his board to reinvest? They didn't buy anyone to replace Lukaku. They didn't buy anyone to replace Herrera. They haven't replaced Luke Shaw, who's injured every 3 weeks. Matic is 32.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Do I
really need to go into it? So same question to you regarding Pogba's situation. I know you're a massive fan of Pogba. What are your thoughts like? Do you think this is a step in the right direction for the club, or do you agree with some of the other guys on yesterday's show saying that we probably should cash in on him and potentially reinvest? Because there are players out there that we could get in, like the likes of the Van der Beeks, even Thiago, Partey. There are players we could get. We could argue we get all 3 of them for Pogba in terms of money wise, which is if you say it like that, it's definitely better, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think you'll get north of 100 million, to be honest, for him. If he did try to cash in, I don't know about the 150 to 180 million. I think that's too much. He's not proven anything like in that way. He's not set alight the world kind of thing. He's a top player. I wouldn't sell him at all. I think not build the team around him, but you have to include him into the center, the core of the team.
Well, Rio said in his comments that Pogba's happy to stay because they made it clear that he's 100% a key player and part of the project going forward.
That's all. I don't listen to Rio. I mean, that's all hype as well. He has to say something like that.
Just quoting what he said.
He got shut down.
I'm literally just quoting what he said.
Sorry, is he? I mean, next year, I think he'll stay depending on how we perform in maybe the Champions League and who we bring in as well. If the project continues, it all depends on if Ollie's still in the job next year. If he's still in the job, then maybe he might stay. Obviously, a year's a long way out. We need to go through this season as well. It's a long season ahead.
Yeah.
But personally, yeah, I would keep him. I wouldn't replace him. I don't think you'd have to get 2 players for him because that's the kind of, especially after post lockdown, he's come back in a different kind of in a vein, like where he's. I don't know. You're starting to see like some sort of quality out of him. You know, like because Bruno's taking the brunt of the pressure, so he's enjoying his training. You can see him smiling and all that. Obviously, he can't leave anyway. No, the team can afford him. Let's be realistic in it. But basically, yeah, I'm happy he's staying. I don't know if he's going to go next year, but I would want him to stay longer. So yeah.
Yeah, I suppose it remains to be seen. I think this whole notion that he's staying doesn't really mean anything unless he signs a contract to me, to be honest with you. Unless he signs a contract, I don't care if he's staying another year because he's going to go for less next summer. So what difference does it make? He needs to actually commit to the club. That's when I'll be like, no, what? Fair play, he's committed to the club. Right, I just want to read out a couple of comments. First and foremost, Emmanuel Regular, basically talking about Leeds United and the fact that they're looking a bit more serious. They've signed Rodrigo for 30 million. Another club that spent more money than us. Actually, I wasn't even aware of this statistic, so I'm just going to throw this out. I don't know if this is factual or not. Akil again saying United are one of only 3 Premier League clubs yet to sign a player. Didn't know Woodward was waiting for Messi this whole time.
Who's the other team, by the way?
I honestly, I don't know off the top of my head.
Newcastle.
Newcastle signed Jeff Hendrick, proud Irishman.
Yeah, of course, you know.
You know that.
Well, he's on a free, so he's worries.
Yeah,
director of football coaching.
Yeah, this kind of leads me on nicely to the title of the show, which is Glazers' lack of ambition killing the club, basically. We've spoken about this already. I know Joe's spoken about this in detail on the show already, alongside myself. Might have a bit of a run. But Ali, we're going to come to you first, man. Look, let's just put the facts out there, right? Chelsea have just signed another player today. Obviously, I was saying to the guys, I've completely forgotten his name. But young lad that they're going to put back onto loan. I think it's at 2021 centre back, free. But that also means that the team that were on the same points as us has signed 6 players come the end of this week, including Havertz, Werner, and Ziyech. So they're 4 players off from replacing the whole 11, by the way. And then we've signed absolutely nobody. We're getting Sancho. And apart from Sancho, the only other player we were linked to is Gabriel. We snoozed on that. Yeah. And also signed him, a team that's sat in 8th in Europa League. Look, what are your thoughts on the whole board, the whole, those in charge of the hierarchy, so to speak? Is it just a matter of they're going to just kill the club, basically? A lot of fans seem to be giving up, basically, as you said yourself.
It's it's the mood around, even on Twitter, following sort of all the Man United fans, is really, really, really flat. But it just I think we can now see a clear picture of how the club has run over the last 3-4 years. Van Gaal has literally come out and said, this was my list of players that I wanted, and I didn't get them. Jose
said the same, yeah.
Jose said exactly the same thing. Ollie's now come out. And you know what? I've actually turned a little bit. I actually feel for Ollie now. The guy was given...
Yes! Let's get it! We've done it!
Hashtag feel for Ollie.
He was given his agenda. He was given, say, look, you do this, and we'll help you out. He's gone and done whatever he could to get us into the sort of top 4. He's got top 3. And the club haven't done it. We saw the same thing. We qualified for Champions League. Jose didn't get his main targets. That was a time when we could have kicked on and really pressed on and sort of closed the gap. Ollie's gone and done the same thing. He's gone away and achieved what he should achieve. And now we're hearing stuff like, the Bruno fee came out the summer budget. And then
we went to sign Bruno last summer, so how's that worked out?
Exactly. Yeah, and then the club extracted 140 million from the bank, not to put towards transfers, but to cover the fact of lost matchday revenue. So we get told, revenues are great and we're the biggest financial football club in the world, etc. But then once you sort of hit the deep root of it, we've let so many players go and we're not reinvesting. And like I said, this happened when Ronaldo left. We could have reinvested that money and actually, I think that was the start of the sort of slide where we could have actually pulled away with that and actually invested really well in there. But then we've had some really poor signings. There's no structure. This project that we keep hearing about, there's no project. We're just
7-year project, mate. 7 years. Leicester won the league in that time. Jose's left and come back and won the league again, by the way.
Can I ask a question, guys? Who would you prefer to own this club, the Glazers or Mike Ashley?
The Saudis.
Glazers.
Elon Musk, please. I like Tesla on the logo. That looks
Elon Musk. Put us on Mars or something.
Well, he's worth 84 billion. I was checking this morning, so Elon Musk, ring up the boys in it. It's getting done, bro.
They are never gonna sell. We make way too much for them. We make way too much money for them for them to leave. We're a business. That is it. That is literally it.
But they don't pay off the debt. This is the thing. They don't pay off the debt, Ali.
Yeah. It's scary. It's scary. How the fact that you're even allowed to buy something on debt and then to live off it and then to extract the money from.
It's ridiculous, bro. They've never put money in. They've actually still to this day, right?
You
refer to that 140 million that they've taken out from the bank. They've never put their own money into the club, which is absolutely ridiculous. How is that allowed to? How is that past the fair? Was it fair?
No, but it wasn't around in 2004.
Oh, was it not around?
No, that's only for a couple of years old. Because I remember
that's probably on the back of like this and Mike Ashley, the absolute abuses.
When they got Chiellino from Leeds and after he had taken over, but he was only recently in, and that's how they got him out. But like the Glazers are so just part of the fabric, and the fact that we had so many good years, but they weren't good years, just because Fergie was in charge, and basically it was his club. It was his club, and he could just. They just followed him because it was constant success. So like if he said I want 30 million for this, they would say yes. But when it comes to what we have now, because there's no structure at the top end of the club, that they have no faith in anyone below Ed Woodward, because Woodward is the one that got them in the club in the first place. So as long as he's making the money, they don't give a shit. But they will not invest in anyone outside of Fergie. I know that I said this last time, Joel Glazer wanted Pochettino in because he was kind of like a Fergie mold who would bring in youth and not spend too much money. So outside of getting him, or maybe if we had a Klopp or Guardiola, they're not going to listen to anyone, and they're just going to look at it and go, "We're making money." I don't like. We got in Champions League football. Is their whole thing? Is it just to keep us a Premier League club? Because it can't be to make us a Champions League team because we aren't investing now. Like if they were any sort of competent businessmen, they would go. Yeah, they would go.
It doesn't make sense. You get more money to be in the Champions League, so surely as a businessman, you think, no, let me invest to get more money because you would get more money in the Champions League.
You got to spend money to make money. Everyone knows that.
They know it's just
but the fact is, they have no faith whatsoever in any management system we have in. All right, we have Solskjaer in now. And they're looking at
Mourinho was the biggest shock because Mourinho is a proven winner.
No, but
I know
but in the same way, if you look at his track record with clubs beforehand, where he was at, when he was at Chelsea, but whoever he was at, like previously, last couple of years, he would spend huge money with little resale value on players, and even at Chelsea, a lot of them didn't play very well. I know he won the Premier League with them, but it all fell apart. So I think once they didn't win the Premier League in the first season under them, I think the trust was gone. I think they were like...
but this is the thing that pisses me off the most, right? Regardless of who's in charge, I don't know everyone's names of it. I know Matt Judge and Ed Woodward get the brunt of it. Obviously, we know the real parasites are the Glazers. But the way I see it, right, whoever said to Jose Mourinho, a guy who's one of the most decorated the managers, you can say what you want about his football, right? Yeah. You can't have a flipping centre-back, then you know there's a problem with the club. And it's not that Jose was asking for them to spend a lot of money. He wanted Alderweireld, who was like 25, 30 million. Which is not even expensive. So,
but they looked at it, and if you can compare Alderweireld, I can never say his name, with Van Persie, right? Big Alderweireld, thank you. Because I remember when Fergie was saying in an interview afterwards, he was like, it took a lot for the board to buy Van Persie because you're looking at 29 and a half, whatever it was. There's not going to be any resale value on that. But you know what? They listened to Fergie because he is the club, all right? So when it comes to Mourinho, look at his transfer record as well. Like prior to Alderweireld.
It's not great,
Yeah, it's not great. So they looked at that going, he's 29 as well, but his record isn't great. Let's not do it. Let's not invest. And they're probably looking at each other going, let's be honest, he'll be out with the club soon enough.
They don't trust the managers. The current managers, they don't trust him. Inexperienced. At the end of the day, he's inexperienced, isn't it?
Well, they hide him though, so they can't turn around and say we don't trust him. At the end of the day, like Ali said, the first thing Ali said, right, is literally bang on. he did his job. Like, every day, it's like a gentleman's agreement, right? No, but it's like a gentleman's agreement. They must have agreed, right? At the start of the season, we all work for companies. The first thing you do when you get a new job, and you got here are your KPIs. This is what you've got to do to achieve in your first tenure in your job. Okay, you got probation for 6 months, whatever. You got to pass it. He passed his probation, right? Yeah. And then he went through a very hard spell where he was practically failing if he was on probation. Yeah. And then eventually, somehow, he turned it around. We don't know. Yes, it was lucky. Other factors, whatever. We don't really. That doesn't apply to the situation that they made. The end of the day, right? And I've said from day one, I'm Ollie out if he doesn't get top 4. Until he doesn't get top 4, he basically, it's like you have to respect it, okay? Because at the end of the day, if he doesn't get top 4, like Van Gaal, etc., then he has to go because he hasn't done his job. His aim was top 4. I didn't give a shit about the football, although as a fan, you're doing a good football. But the main thing was top 4. He's done that. The board obviously said to him, get us top 4, we'll get you X, Y, and Z. Yeah. They're taking the piss, right? And I'm going to go on to the next topic, which is Chelsea, right? They're taking the piss on one player, right? Let me just put some facts down. Chelsea have made 4 negotiations in 3 days. So Thiago, I've forgotten this kid's name. I do apologize. I know this kid that they've got on a free. So that's 2 players, right? That they've signed 2 players in one day. Okay, so you're thinking, okay, it's 2 players. Then on top of that, they're negotiating with Havertz. Ramona's come out and said the paperwork's done. It's just little details that need to be done. So that's basically done. So that's 3 players that they're negotiating at the same time. And the 4th player is Ben Chilwell. So you're telling me a club of Manchester United size can't make one deal, and on top of that, fair enough, right? I'm not saying get the Sancho Malangsar, thank you, there we go. I'm not saying get Sancho done because we got to be patient. It's a lot of money, and they're still playing a bit for chess game. What I'm saying is, if you can't do the Sancho deal, at least work on the other fucking 3 targets that you might have. Exactly. Why do you have to wait for Sancho to sign pen to paper?
Maybe because it's only Sancho.
It could be just Sancho. Is it just Sancho? Because
if
it's not just Sancho, then the club are fucking shit. Because how can you only do 1 signing and spend 1 month on it and not even sign him? Chelsea made 4 signings in 3 days. And
just send me out and I'll go and sign a player. Give me some money. I'll
that's what pisses me off. Like, okay, fair enough, the Sancho deal, right? It might be difficult to get because it's a lot of money. The Griezmann deal was difficult as well. And the Pogba deal was difficult as well. I'll be patient because there are a lot of different factors if you get the man. But while you've got Sancho at the back, can you not sign somebody else? Is that not possible? Like Ali, what are your thoughts on that? I just think it's ridiculous.
You know, transfers are very important. Ozzy, your points are absolutely spot on. The 2 major recruitments that we should have actually looked at, even at the start of the season, was director of football and head of recruitment.
Never going to happen, man, in a million years.
Those 2 alone would have been fine. The fact Chelsea are moving in such an aggressive manner, amount of money they're throwing out, just shows that the board, whoever, Judge, Woodward, whoever it is, are just the most incompetent bunch of donkeys operating on a business desk possible. How can you go out and have 4? You're having 4 different conversations with 4 different clubs and 4 different players and just sewing it all up. And we're sitting there putting all our eggs into one basket, embarrassing ourselves, crying over, we don't know, it could be 10, 20 million, whatever it is. You've had months to plan this deal.
If we've had a full pandemic, what have they been doing there?
They're
at home. You can't go out.
But they came out with that stupid statement, what Ollie said earlier on, where we're in a good position, prime position. We can control the market. Control shit.
Fuck off.
But see, like, I guarantee he was under the assurance that.
You're possibly right.
If we get Champions League football, they were told, we can get all these players. But now they're using, I guarantee the way these swines are getting out of spending the money is be like, we're losing money because of the COVID. We didn't get the fans in, all this sort of stuff. They're using.
On the virus.
Leeds spent 30 million on some Leeds.
Exactly. But I guarantee you, that's what they're holding on to. That's what they're trying to say. That's what they're trying to happen.
It's not going to work this time.
I'm going to chuck some questions because obviously I want to keep it as interactive as possible. A lot of people say different things. You know, obviously AK, hopefully 47. Woodward X. No, I'm joking. Look what Chelsea. I'm joking. Look what Chelsea are doing in transfer market. Obviously, what we refer to. I'm going to catch. Well, that is the next point that I'm going to talk about. And Akil will say we're not even linked to anyone. This is the point I'm making. I'm not saying I want to be linked to everybody, right? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying we should be. I'm not saying now we should get Sancho done in 2 weeks because it's not possible. I think we need to have a bit of realization. Havertz's deal has taken a long time as well. The only reason the Chelsea fans,
the background.
the Chelsea fans aren't getting the bag is because they've signed 3 other bloody players.
But also, Usmaan, with the Sancho, the deal should be well done because we have been like that deal seemed to have been done since fucking March. And we've been chatting about it being like
it's true.
Like, no, but
I made a video in March saying we're interested in Sancho. Like legit, it's what 7 months
look at when Ronaldo, for example, at the top of my head, when he went to Real Madrid, when Eden Hazard went to Real Madrid,
even Juventus.
But like that had been in talks for so long, and even in the press for so long, that when it was announced it was going to happen, it was at the start of the fucking window that deal was happening.
It's true. As well saying apparently the deal was done in January, so
and then it's just
they're taking the piss, man. They're taking the piss. It's like playing the Monopoly board game, and then the other guy next to you is flipping every street, and you're hanging on one damn train station, and you think you're gonna win the damn. You think you're gonna win the league. Usmaan, I bet you still win somehow, you little dog.
Listen, we're not getting to Monopoly because I've embarrassed you weekly. To be fair, I'm just gonna say. My brother was right. He would be a great negotiator because imagine I've got Mayfair, right? Or he's got Mayfair. He'll want me to give him 5 streets just to get Mayfair off him. He won't do the deal.
I'll get it somehow, bro.
He won't do the deal unless you give him 5 fucking streets like your whole set's houses, and otherwise he'll just
send me in. I'm telling you now. If us 4 should go in, us 4 should go in.
I don't think Joe can be trusted if he's on the phones. It's so really a bad deal. You're not fucking having Rashford piss.
But lads, my biggest worry is that we're going to be the Premier League like stable version of Sunderland. Do you know what? Do you remember Sunderland? No. I mean, in kind of like the Champions League, like between 6th and 4th place, where when it gets to the stage of when we're not going to get the Champions League or we're struggling, we sack a manager, bring a new manager in, get that manager a boost, and then until maybe the same time next year, or maybe a little bit while afterwards, the same thing will happen. We sack the manager, a new one comes in. Instead of it's giving someone, like the average now is 2.5 years, instead of doing that, it might just be 18 months. And it might be our constant thing is just the push for Champions League football, and then we'll never have a stable manager. And
it is. Look, a lot of people are going to be watching this video, right? Well, I say a lot of people. Whoever watches it, they should drop like. But people are going to be watching. All that good stuff. Yeah, so people are going to watch the video. They're going to think, "Oh, look at these bunch of entitled United fans thinking, oh, we have to spend money." Listen, I'm going to tell you why we are reacting like this. All right, in case you do support a rival team and you're wondering why we're entitled, my United fans. Like I said, I'm not expecting to get the Sancho deal done in a week or 2 weeks. I'll be patient on that deal. My problem is, right, and it's very simple, it's very black and white. The team that was level on points with has signed 6 players. Arsenal have signed 2 players. Even Spurs, who had to furlough half the staff, just got into a new stadium. I've even signed a player, right? Spurs, who don't win anything anyways, even they're showing more ambition than us. You know, Man City have signed 2 players. Man City got their squad compared to ours is taking the piss, and even they've had to reinvest into their squad. And then Liverpool are going to sign Thiago Alcantara, and you're telling me we don't need anyone. So I'll tell you what's going to happen, lads. I'll tell you what's going to happen. We might get Sancho, right? We might get Sancho on very late, so he won't even play the first 4 games.
Probably deadline day.
Yeah, whatever. Or let's make it deadline day. We'll get Sancho. He won't even play the first 2 months of the season because obviously he needs to flip and break into the team, all the bullshit. And then Fred is going to get converted to CDM. Matic is going to be on the bench. That's our strength in depth. Matic is going to be on bench. Fred is going to play majority of the season in CDM. McTominay is going to share that role. And McTominay is going to get substitute on for Pogba when we're winning 3-0. And then Bruno will get injured. Then Pereira will be in the team. Or Lingard, whoever it may be. Or look, even better, Bruno will get injured. We've got versatility. We put Pogba into 10. And we put McTominay and Fred there. Look, everything's solved. Everything's fixed. That's basically what's going to happen. They're going to just flip his shoehorn players around and just try to utilize the squad. And like you said, for me personally, right, if I hear anyone saying Oli out when he's lost a couple of games or we don't sign him, you're a fucking disgrace. I'm saying it now, and I'm going to clip this. If you're shouting Oli out, Benji, after 2 games that he's lost, or anything else, or Jack Holmesy, and again, you're entitled to your opinions, but look at the bigger picture. Like
I mean, you can't.
You can sack Oli. Bring Poch in. Poch did miracles with no money. So you think they're going to give him money? No chance. No. If anything, Poch is perfect, even more perfect for Glazers because he's actually shown some sort of success with no money. So they're going to be rubbing their hands thinking, well, this guy's done it before, so why can't he do it again?
Yeah. And if he ever asked for money, they would say, but why do you need it now? You didn't need it at Spurs.
Yeah, exactly. And pissed off. Like, do you know what I mean? That's my personal opinion. Just to finish off, boys, just a quick one, really. Just to summarise on, obviously, what we've spoken about, Maguire, Pogba and stuff. Obviously, we don't need to go into too much detail, but, what is your thoughts on this? I just feel like this is a black cloud over this club. No, remember, was it Chelsea? I can't remember. One of the other teams that had a massive black cloud. It was us, actually, under Jose Mourinho. When he got sacked. I thought it was somebody else. It was us under Jose Mourinho when he had that massive argument, right, with Pogba in the dressing room. You know, obviously on the pitch, we all saw the argument. Do you think this Maguire situation is going to hinder the club in terms of the negativity, the atmosphere in the dressing room, that kind of thing? Obviously, just to finish off, Ross.
No, not at all. I don't think so. I think I think Ollie's done a good job in that sense where he's got everyone tight knit, and obviously he's our captain. I don't think anyone's going to come out to say anything to Maguire. That'd just be a bit daft, especially being a captain and stuff.
Oh, wait, it's not breaking news, actually.
Go on,
Maguire's been withdrawn from the England squad.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Yeah, I said it. It's going to happen. They can't.
Yeah, it was inevitable.
I thought they won't go backtrack like that. That's good. They've done that, I suppose.
Well, you say, just to come back to the start of the conversation, if England have done that, does that mean we have to take the captaincy, I think? Because I know it's not the same thing.
I would.
They've clearly punished him in some manner. Obviously, we're not going to get rid of him, innit? Of course, and I don't want him to
wasn't it De Gea got his captaincy removed for something way less than this? What was his thing? I can't remember. You made a comment or something. I can't remember.
He said basically we wank, and he was right. At the time he said it. He said after the game, he said we're not good enough. Basically, we're not good enough for Man United. This is
should have given a pay rise, actually.
Something he did eventually, but basically he alluded to the fact that these are the standards of the club, and I was high fiving him all over the way. So fair play to him. Yeah, go on, sorry.
Yeah, no, I personally think you should remove the captaincy and give it to probably Bruno or Pogba or whatever. I don't know who. Someone.
Well, you said no to Pogba earlier, so you're not having that now. Right, yeah, Ali. Ali, what do you reckon? Obviously, on the the Maguire situation, do you think this is? Look, it just seems like a shitstorm around our club where we don't need him. It's come at the worst time possible. We've already got a shitstorm. The fans are in uproar because we've not signed, like Akil said, one of 3 teams that we haven't signed, one of 3 teams in the league that haven't signed anyone. So, and he's been taken out of the squad now as well. So, do you think Maguire can bounce back from this as well on a personal level? Or what do you think in the situation?
No, I reckon, like I said, I reckon he'll bounce back. I think once all the facts come out from the case and that sort of gets aired out, I think there'll be a sort of turn in terms of the media and sort of how it sort of spun. But in terms of us as a club, the last highlight we had was the last game of the season where we beat Leicester and got Champions League. Until then, as you said, it's just been a dark cloud completely. We need something to turn our way. Something has to give. Because I'm fed up seeing the Man United Twitter account going over, oh, look, our win. That is just literally.
If they post another throwback, I swear to God, I'm going to hit some of the kids at work. No, I'm joking.
We just need something positive because, like I said, we're flat. Literally, right now we are literally rock bottom. Everyone around us is having literally a disco party, and we're sitting there, sitting by ourselves in the dark with a little hat on, having no fun.
The maddest thing is we finished 3rd as well. We shouldn't be in this position. It's not like we finished 8th at Arsenal, or wherever 6th. Or whatever it was, Spurs finished.
But at least they're investing in it. At least they're doing something.
Yeah, but I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is we shouldn't. There's doom and gloom around the club. Obviously, the Harry Maguire thing, that's a separate matter. But it shouldn't be there. At the end of the day, look, okay, granted, we lost to Sevilla. That wasn't a good end to the season. But as a whole, it's been an okay season. It's not been fantastic. He's achieved his sort of set targets. Joe, just to finish off, mate, got a lot of people commenting boycott. That's not going to happen, mate. I appreciate your optimism, but obviously Ed Woodward and Glazers out. You already know we need new owners. That is what it is. But yeah, Joe, just to finish on the Maguire. Yeah, obviously. Just to finish on the Maguire thing, mate. Your thoughts around the whole situation, and then obviously we'll leave it there.
Yeah, no, I like him being withdrawn from the England squad's no big deal, to be honest. I'd say it's just to get him out of a media storm that would come. Like if he's at every press conference, they'll be talking about that and want to speak to him. So I think that's fine. The Nations League doesn't matter if it's a World Cup qualifier or a European Championship qualifier. He wouldn't be withdrawn, I don't think. So I think
they're going to be friendly, surely, because obviously everyone's qualified, aren't they? It's not going to be the Euros next year because obviously it's
Nations
postponed, isn't it?
The Nations League, actually, is that not?
Oh,
Is it Nations League?
Nations League.
I
Who cares?
I don't follow international football at all, with all due respect.
I follow it quite to heart. Stephen Kenny, Irish Bosch. Everyone check him out. He's going to be the next. But no, I think, like I said, I don't think anything could happen from this. I don't think he should be stripped of captaincy. I do think what you said, which I didn't realize, is that I keep forgetting that footballers are heroes to kids and stuff like that. So but I think he'll do something. I think he'll obviously talk to his fellow players. He might talk to the youth team and maybe like the youth players.
I think that's one of the reasons they might take the captaincy off him. Like for me personally, when I ask the kids at work, who's your hero? Who do you look up to? Literally, like anyone that's a Sheffield United fan, I said 99% is Billy Sharp. Like the only other one hasn't got a clue what the players on. They'll say Henderson because whatever it is, whereas they'll have a goalkeeper kit on. But literally every kid, he's not the best player. Well, he obviously is a legend of the club, but everyone says Billy Sharp. So I'm just curious to know how many young kids got Maguire shit. So I'm thinking, obviously they don't even know what's happened, but it's just one of those things, isn't it? You have to set an example. It's that, it was Roy Keane, how people used to say that he's Fergie on the pitch, he's basically Man United on the pitch, and it's the same for our captain. Whoever is the captain represents us on and off the pitch. And at the end of the day, he's tarnished the label of the club at the end of the day, and so I think in that sense, you already alluded to De Gea. The captaincy might get taken off him, but again, it comes down to
who would you give it? Look, who would you give it to? You can't. De Gea is going to be gone after next season.
Bruno, isn't it? That's what I think.
Fernandez is too soon.
I actually would give it to Pogba. I know you guys aren't going to agree to me, but the reason I'll give it to Pogba is right, and the point being, when Pogba was at his best was when he was captain. No, that period that he was unbelievably good. I think De Gea might be captain for most of it as well, but in general, I just think in the the thing with Pogba is right. Obviously, a lot of people say X, Y, and Z, but if you actually look at the football players that play with him, there's not a single. He knows so many people, and all of them speak so glowingly of him as well. You can tell he's a leader. There's that clip of him in the French dressing room. You know, he's got the mentality as well. You've got to remember, he's overcome.
Bruno's a leader as well, man. Bruno, you've
Bruno
seen him
as well, but he's just common. So that's why I wouldn't give him personally. But the Pogba's overcome so much personally in terms of the mental battle. You know, he is getting so much slander from everybody, and the guy is still positive in training room. If anyone's got a reason not to be positive in the dressing room, it's that guy, because he's been getting blasted.
He'll raise his game if you're saying that, I suppose.
Hopefully, we'll raise his game. Obviously, it has to be Pogba, but it's either one of them two guys.
Yeah,
it can't be anybody else.
I would disagree wholeheartedly on giving Pogba the captaincy.
Yeah, I know. I don't want Pogba to stay. That's why.
Bring Roy Keane back. Get Keano back.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan for that.
But somebody said Rashford the other day, but I don't agree with that. Anyways, we'll leave it. Was that what it was? I don't think it was. Anyways, we'll leave it on there. Just want to say, first and foremost, as always, make sure you show love to the boys, because I really do appreciate the time. Massive shout out to Ali as well, coming in last minute. You know, substitute. Ali, as always, mate, as you didn't get a chance to the start, do you want to just obviously plug your shirts?
Yeah, guys. So I've actually got a shipment. I've actually got Waz and Uzi. I've got your tops coming in tomorrow. They're coming in, so I'm going to spot check and make sure I'm happy with them. And like I said, guys, new season football tops, £35 delivered to you guys. Like I said, I've got shipment coming in this week. So yeah, very hot at the moment. There's a lot of
Ali, you're going to sort me out, yeah?
Yeah, I think for you it's 50 quid.
John O'Shea for you. John O'Shea.
50 quid. 50 quid. It's the Chelsea shirt with Lampard's name on the back of it.
I don't. He's referred to as a Tory around.
Anyways, listen, make sure you show the boys love as always. Make sure you drop a like, subscribe. As I've mentioned at the start of the show, if you are still listening, on Thursday we've got a very credible journalist in the know, in the know, you know, it's Joe. He follows Man United. Basically, he's the main correspondent for Manchester United, or one of the main correspondents. Anyway, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Apart from that, drop a like, subscribe, and yeah, just enjoy the rest of the evening or whatever's left of it. I'm gonna go and kill some kids on cards, so it should be fun. Anyways.